Previously on the practice.
But this is an emergency. I need to talk to someone.
George?
My bag. Open it.
What?
There's a head in the bag.
It's the woman I met at the bar last night.
What are you doing with her head?
I don't know. Somebody put it in there.
George Vogelman, you're under arrest for the murder of Susan Robin.
Anderson Pearson, my stuffed shirt professor, he just shot somebody, dead.
I'd like to go self-defense.
The man was unarmed.
And talking to your wife, you two felt like this man might end up hurting you one day.
But we weren't at that point when your client shot him.
I think that's a question of fact left for the jury.
The jury's not going to get that question, Bobby.
You can't limit our defense to
You
what
don't want to be arguing self-defense.
Do you think you were acting in self-defense? Or do you think you involuntarily just started squeezing?
I don't remember pulling the trigger.
Good.
We need an expert to take the stand and basically testify that between the light trigger and the automatic recoil, it is possible for a man to just sort of squeeze and have the entire magazine empty.
What's the fee?
The victim was being treated.
Shrink?
Dr. Walter Matthews diagnosed him as a schizophrenic. This is good.
We need to meet with him.
Things I learn in therapy, they're privileged.
This case involves a murder, Doctor.
Too personal?
I don't think so.
But it certainly isn't relevant to
You'll
how...
get slack. The last thing a DA wants is to get up and object to an opening statement. But here, starting on page 3, you got to tone this down.
That's sort of our story, Bobby.
The problem is, if you tell it, you steal the thunder of Pearson's testimony. That's where this thing is won or lost, with him on the stand. Don't go near the dead cat.
Really?
They got to hear that from him.
Do you think he's guilty?
I think under that set of circumstances, a lot of people would have pulled the trigger.
Yeah, out of revenge, maybe, but we can't go with revenge. Our case is accident.
Our case
God.
is getting the jury to want to let him go. If we can do that, they'll find accident.
Well, then Judge Hiller will give him the instruction of a lifetime.
12 people on the jury. All we need is one. Are you okay?
For all my problems with him, he's like my father. You know, in fact, he believed in me more than...
Are you too close to this?
No.
Because the fresher your testimony, the better. I don't want you up there with just a cold memory. The more you still feel it, the more they will.
I will never not feel that moment, Bobby.
Lindsay will open. They'll probably put on the detective, the coroner, somebody from forensics, and that could be it. You could be taking the stand by Thursday. Whether we put you on depends on how he does. I want to rest on our best note. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you? We're ready.
Helen, how we doing?
Well, nothing in his house connecting him to the crime. That's the good news.
What's the bad?
Oh, well, your buddy George has a little home video library, Eleanor. None of them directed by Ron Howard.
Oh, don't tell me.
Some weird stuff.
What, you saw it?
No, some of the detectives. It doesn't really mean anything.
Helen, you
but...
gotta know the guy was framed. Come on. If you're gonna kill somebody, you don't then walk around with the head.
It's not my case.
You know, I didn't hear an undertone of this will probably go away.
Right now, there are no other suspects. They think they've got the right guy.
What the hell is going on? I'm being railroaded.
Look, let's just focus on the good news. They found nothing at your house.
You said that after they investigated, I'd probably be set free. You said that if they didn't find anything else, they would release me.
I said
well, they didn't find anything else, and now you're here telling me the district attorney's office thinks I did it.
Don't yell at me, George.
I will yell, Eleanor. What the hell is going on?
You have to
This is insane!
All right, George. Let me tell you how this is going to work. You don't shout at me, ever. Aside from the fact that I don't like it, we don't need some guard here taking the stand saying he heard you banging tables and screaming like a man who could decapitate somebody. Now, the police aren't nuts to hold you. They haven't found one piece of evidence connecting anybody else to this crime. You had the victim's head. Now add to that your porno collection, that makes you seem a little strange, and add to that the fact you don't have an alibi.
I was home!
Yes! And that's the only thing I have to tell to a jury. That while Susan Robin was being murdered, you were home alone watching your own private Discovery Channel. Let's just get over the idea that they're going to free you any second now. It isn't going to happen. We're in this for the long haul, George.
This just can't be happening to me.
Let me begin by saying thank you for your service. Criminal cases aren't fun, especially when they involve the taking of human life. And homicide trials tend to be long. You will be relieved to learn, however, that here it will be short. It is uncontroverted, which means that you can accept it as fact right now. The defendant shot an unarmed man at point blank 5 times, killing him. Now, defense counsel, I suspect, might try to put the victim on trial here. Tell you he was a bad guy. Perhaps he was. But he's not on trial. He is. The victim didn't have a gun. He did. The victim didn't kill anybody. He did. Now, it's possible the defense might endeavor to convince you their client's a good man. Perhaps he is. Though in my experience, good men don't execute people. All I will ask, do not let yourselves be drawn into good guy, bad guy arguments. This isn't about who he is or what he is. This is about what he did. What he did was to shoot a man 3 times in the chest and then twice in the head. What he did was commit a horrific murder.
The evidence will show the victim, Raymond Breyer, terrorized my client and my client's family. His wife, Meredith, sitting there, their 2 children who visit almost every weekend. The evidence will show that after being stalked, threatened with violence, vandalized, Professor Pearson purchased a gun to protect his family. The evidence will show that Professor Pearson picked up that gun, in fact, to protect himself when Mr. Breyer showed up at his doorstep in a paranoid, schizophrenic state, to protect himself from a deranged person with a past history of violence. When you listen to all of the evidence carefully, you will see that Mr. Breyer posed a life threat to Mr. Pearson and his family. Now, I'm not surprised the prosecution wants you to take the question of who's the good guy out of the equation, because the evidence will show Anderson Pearson to be... I suppose I should admit a bias. He was my law professor, and I, like many of my classmates, walked out of law school aspiring to be him. He's a very good man. The thing about law school, we all go in dreaming of someday arguing the big case. And the biggest cases, it's usually a murder trial, where your client is not only innocent, but heroic even. And he's somebody you care deeply about. Somebody you desperately want to save. Not just from prison, but from injustice. This is my big case.
Donald Young in front. And Dole. Hi, Lindsay.
Eugene, they're not even looking for anybody else.
They usually don't, Eleanor, when they think they got the guy. To them, this case is solved, which means we got to investigate, and we start by making 2 lists. 1, who would want to frame George Vogelman? 2, who would want Susan Robin dead? It's possible George just represented somebody's chance to get away with murder, and this whole thing is more about that.
Just got a little inside tip from Lindsay. Helen told her. George and the victim did not leave the bar together.
Did he make any statement to the effect that he thought the victim was armed?
No, he didn't.
And detective, was there any evidence of a struggle?
No, sir.
Any evidence that suggested that the victim could have been moving toward the defendant?
No. We concluded the victim was standing flat-footed about 40 inches away from the defendant at the time of the shooting.
How could you tell that?
The powder burns on the victim, footprints, the defendant's statement. He said so himself.
In fact, Mr. Pearson was very forthcoming, wasn't he?
Yes.
And it was Mr. Pearson's wife that called the police.
That's correct.
Did the Pearsons ever ask the police to do something to protect them from Mr. Breyer?
They did.
And how did you respond?
We advised them to seek a restraining order.
And to your knowledge, they got a restraining order, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And yet, here was Mr. Breyer again coming to their house.
That seems to be the case.
And this Mr. Breyer, he had a police record, correct?
That's correct.
3 assault convictions, 1 battery with a tire iron. Did you also have knowledge that he was a paranoid schizophrenic?
I have knowledge of it today. Yes, I do.
If he were harassing you, detective, and he rang your doorbell one night, would you answer the door without your gun?
Probably not.
Thank you.
Would you shoot him 5 times?
No, I wouldn't.
The witness may step down. Mr. Bullock?
The Commonwealth rests, Your Honor.
Maybe it's good.
It's not good. You don't just put up one witness in a murder trial.
So, what are they up to?
My bet is they're saving their case for rebuttal, hoping to get you in a lie.
But he's admitted everything. What's to impeach?
Is there anything?
No.
Well, if you make a single mistake of fact up there, they'll put up the coroner or whoever to paint it as a lie. That's what this is about. Smart.
Except if we don't put him on, those experts can't testify at all now.
They satisfied their burden. He has to go up. Go over the autopsy reports with him. I got to get a hold of Dr. Matthews and our weapons guy. They could be taking the stand by tomorrow. I'll see you after lunch.
This isn't that perverted. Oh, I mean, at least it's film. Some of the stuff on videotape.
That last scene had some sadomasochism going on.
You have to suppress this, Eleanor.
Well, you can get this late night on Showtime. I mean, what's the... Oh, not that you can't.
If this gets admitted into evidence, George is going to look like a sicko.
Let's mark up a motion to suppress. Jimmy, I could use that research you did on Davis.
All right, I can pull it right up. You know, I think 2 women together can be sensual.
Well, great. We'll call you up as a character witness.
He would call. He would drive by the house. He was terrifying us.
You said he would call. Did you talk to him?
Well, at first we answered, but then we knew better than to pick up. So he began leaving messages.
What kind of messages?
Most of them were along the lines of, you think you're better than I am because you're rich. But money can't buy your health, you know. He'd say that all the time.
And when you got the restraining order?
Well, it stopped for a few weeks. Then, well, one morning I went out and I saw the garage had been broken into. My car had been scraped. A window had been smashed.
Mr. Breyer did it.
Well, we can only assume. A few days later, we were watching television at night. I got up to go to the kitchen, and there he was at the window.
So what did you do?
I called the police. They said they'd arrest him.
Did they?
No. Well, the next night, I had just gotten home. It was barely dark, and suddenly Meredith yelled, "He's back!"
I looked out, and there he was, coming up the walkway.
So what did you do?
I went and got my gun.
You keep a gun?
Well, I bought it because of this man.
And when you went to get your gun, was it your intent to use it?
My intent was to let him know I was armed, and I would use it to protect myself or my family.
So what happened?
I opened the door, and he held up my cat. It was dead. It looked as if it had been strangled.
And then what happened?
He dropped it at my feet, said, "Something seems to be wrong with your cat." The next thing I remember, I was raising my gun, pointing it at him. I threatened him. I told him if he ever tried to hurt us.
And how did he respond?
He mocked me. How could he hurt us? He was just a mouse. And then he said, maybe it was a mouse that got your cat. And I could see it in his eyes.
See what?
He was going to hurt us.
Then what?
The next thing I remember, the gun was going off, and he was falling backwards. Meredith was screaming, and he was lying there, bleeding.
You shot him?
Yes.
Professor Pearson, did you willfully shoot this man?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, I felt myself getting angry, and I looked at the cat, and my hand, it just clenched, and I was squeezing the gun, and bullets were coming out. It was not something I decided to do. It just happened.
Give me one reason I should speak to you.
The reason is I don't think George Vogelman killed your daughter.
You're being paid to think that.
I get paid to represent him. What I think isn't up for sale.
Now, the police seem pretty sure.
But given the circumstances, it's pretty easy to be convinced that Mr. Vogelman is involved. I'm here making room for the possibility that the real killer is still out there. That's why I've come to talk. The people I've spoken with, they say that it's not normal behavior for Susan to go to some bar alone.
It isn't.
Well, could she have been upset about something? Mr. Vogelman said that when he first started speaking with her, she seemed sad. Is it possible that she could have gone to the bar to drown out some kind of sorrow?
I don't know.
What about her boyfriend? Were things good between them?
I think so. I know she loved him, which is another reason she wouldn't be going to some motel with a guy she met in a bar.
Well, could they have had a fight? I mean, was she depressed about that, going to a bar to
If she was depressed, I doubt it was about her boyfriend, Mr. Young. I was just diagnosed with liver cancer. I don't have much time. But I still don't think she would deal with that by going to a bar.
That's wrong. We did leave together.
Well, they've got witnesses saying you didn't.
We didn't walk out the door together. I went first because my car was parked a ways off. I went to get it. I drove back to pick her up.
Did anybody see her get in the car with you?
I don't know. What, they think I abducted her now?
Why did you go to a motel, George? You've got your place, she has hers. Why a motel?
What? It seemed more romantic. I don't know. My place was a mess.
Too many videotapes strewn about.
You know what, Eleanor?
I'm just asking the questions they'll be asking.
If you have any question as to my innocence, get up and walk away. I'll find somebody else. She had her head cut off, for God's sakes.
I have a motion scheduled to suppress the videotapes. We don't want them coming into evidence. I have no doubt the prosecution will try to use them. Is there anything else you need? Anybody I can call for you?
No.
You say that your hand just squeezed and bullets started coming out.
Yes.
Did you squeeze just once, or did you squeeze 5 times?
I don't remember.
You don't remember.
I was probably in shock, Mr. Bullock, and rage. The man had killed my cat. I was thinking probably he'd kill me, maybe my wife.
Did you think he was about to kill you or your wife when you pulled the trigger?
Well, no, not at that second, but...
So you do have some memory of what you were thinking. And you did pull the trigger.
I didn't consciously pull it. It just went off.
5 times?
Yes.
See, this is what I have a problem with. The squeeze and release, 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 which I am told is the only way this weapon could possibly have gone off 5 times. Now, I have here the gun, though it's not loaded. Could you take this, please?
Objection.
He's already described what happened. I'd like him to demonstrate.
I'll allow it.
Your
Come on,
Honor.
you gotta be kidding me.
I'll allow it. Sit down, both of you.
Could you stand up, Mr. Pearson, and step out? I would like you to show us exactly how you were holding this gun when it went off 5 times. Could you squeeze, please? It's not loaded.
Objection!
Counsel, what else are you looking for?
I'd like him to make it click 5 times, Your Honor. See how this possibly could have happened.
Please show us, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. I'll take the gun back, please.
I'll say he possibly could have become violent. I won't go any further than that.
Doctor...
That's as far as I go, Mr. Donnell. I am limited to the truth, am I not?
Yes.
I'll see you at the courthouse.
Doctor, we don't want you to do anything but tell the truth. But you don't know Anderson Pearson. There's no other way to say this. He needs you desperately. Where are we on Schramm?
Same. He'll say the gun could have possibly... with the light trigger and the slightest squeeze.
He sunk himself.
It's not over. We still need only 1 juror. All he had to do was stick with I don't remember. I guess we should have coached him a little better.
Bobby, we did everything but suborn perjury as it was. Look, everybody in that room knows what really happened. Our job is still the same. We just need to find 1 juror to pretend otherwise. Like you say, this isn't over.
The videotapes would have no relevance whatsoever except a comment on my client's character, which is totally inadmissible.
We'd be offering the tapes only to show a pattern, Your Honor.
A pattern?
Some of the tapes involve sexual scenes which border on sadomasochism. We believe we can show a statistical correlation between the men who commit sex crimes...
This is so ridiculous.
Can I finish?
This is a homicide case. It is not a sex crime.
We don't know that, counsel.
There is no evidence of rape or forced...
Nor is there any conclusive evidence that the intercourse didn't occur after she was headless.
Your Honor, As an officer of this court, I must go on record with my disgust with that comment.
Take exception all you want, but the fact remains.
The police have never even suggested such a scenario. I doubt they even considered it.
Maybe they should.
Under the heading that depravity too can be in the eye of the beholder, I would ask that you be recused from this case.
Your Honor.
I can tell you George Vogelman could not be capable of having such a sick thought. I would hate for him to be in the hands of a judge who could be.
Look, we're getting way off track now. The issue today is these videotapes.
I want to see the specific tapes we are talking about before
You
I
would.
make...
Eleanor?
I will see the tapes in question. Then I'll make my ruling.
Defense calls Dr. Walter Matthews to the stand.
Sidebar, Your Honor.
We object to this witness on grounds of relevance.
What's your offer of proof?
Dr. Matthews will testify that Mr. Breyer posed a risk of danger to my client and his family.
Which might be relevant if you were arguing self-defense, but under the theory that Mr. Pearson involuntarily pulled the trigger, the victim's state of mind has no meaning.
I agree.
Your Honor, panic, fear, anger, it all factored into my client clenching onto that gun. To the extent that the victim posed a risk of bodily harm.
You're trying to squeeze in self-defense, counsel.
We're not.
The only thing relevant is your client's state of mind. This witness has nothing to say to that.
This witness will speak to the threat posed by the victim, which goes to Anderson Pearson's state of mind.
It's a nice try.
You are shutting down our whole defense.
I'm shutting down this guy. He's not relevant.
I want our objection noted for the record.
So noted. Step back. Dr. Matthews, you're excused.
Get out of my face, Eugene.
I'm in your face, Eleanor, and I will stay in your face.
Guy says something like that in open court. I don't care if he's a judge
The
or
point is to win a motion. If you taking on the judge doesn't
We
help us.
already lost the motion.
You don't know that.
What happened?
She went ballistic on the judge in open
I did
court.
not go ballistic. All right. He suggested that my client had sex with a headless corpse. I'm supposed to...
Maybe he did us a favor.
What?
Well, now we got an idea of how people see things. Eleanor, this was a beautiful woman with a boyfriend. You ever ask yourself what the hell she's doing with George? Maybe you just assume a pretty girl would go to a motel with a schlub like him, but the jury won't. You keep looking at this and saying, of course he's innocent, but you're the only one doing that. And if you don't get some perspective real fast, then at least be a good lawyer and a good friend and tell George to hire himself a new attorney, because he didn't have a good one in court today.
It's an extremely light trigger. This is a sophisticated and sensitive firearm.
Now, you heard Mr. Pearson's testimony, that his hand clenched on the trigger and 5 shots fired. Is that possible, Mr. Schramm?
If he squeezed the trigger one time, it would not be possible for the weapon to discharge 5 times. No.
Is it your testimony that it's impossible, Mr. Schramm?
The way he described it. I think what happened was this. His hand seized up a little, and it trembled, causing the fingers to shake, maybe even twitch a little bit. If that happened, it's not only possible for the gun to go off again and again, I would consider it likely.
Likely?
Yeah, you have to understand, this gun has an automatic recoil. If his hand is trembling, pulling at the trigger but not pulling too hard, it will recoil automatically and fire automatically. It's extremely plausible.
Thank you.
Not only do I reject that likelihood, I'm offended by Mr. Schramm's testimony.
Why is that, sir?
Well, as manufacturer of this particular firearm, I take exception to the notion that these weapons just go off with the tremble of a finger. It's preposterous. You have to pull, semi-automatic or not.
Of course, if these guns could go off with a trembling squeeze, you might be exposed to a massive product liability action.
Which is one of the reasons we wouldn't let the gun be so temperamental.
And also a reason you'd be sitting in court spouting that it could never happen.
I can't say the morning went well, but Schramm was much better than I ever thought. The trembling fingers, he could have bought us reasonable doubt.
So where are we?
I would love to be able to put on a witness who saw your hand start to shake. If we had that to back up Schramm's testimony, plus we could end on an emotional high point. Otherwise, I think we're still behind.
I saw his handshake.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Good. Then you're up next.
He was pointing the gun, and I could just see his face going red.
Did you say anything to your husband?
No.
He's pointing a gun at a man. His face is going red, and you didn't say anything?
Like, put the gun down? No. I thank God he had that gun. Otherwise, I didn't know what that man would do to us.
Mrs. Pearson, tell us what you saw next.
Everything seemed to go in slow motion. And then Anderson's hand started to shake. Not a lot, but he was trembling. He was standing there like a statue. And then suddenly, bullets just started coming out.
Mrs. Pearson, your husband is on trial here for executing a man.
And I'm telling you, that's not how it happened. He is the most gentle man on earth. His hand... I would ask you to put yourself in his position. But it would be impossible for you to do so.
Thank you.
You love your husband very much.
Yes.
And you don't want to see him go to prison, do you?
Of course not.
When the police asked you that night what happened, you didn't tell them anything about any shaking hand, did you?
I was in shock that night.
Oh. Nothing further.
George, I want to apologize for what happened this morning. I just lost it in there. When the judge said...
I know. Thank you for losing it.
Okay, George. It's brutal truth time. Me first. The idea that you could do what happened to that girl, not only can I not believe it, but it might be impossible for me to believe it. You and I talked on the phone every night for a month. We shared some of our most intimate secrets. And the idea that I could have, not seen...
What are you saying?
I'm admitting that maybe I had some denial myself. Obviously, I don't want to admit that I could misjudge somebody, so it's just possible that some of my own denial is what caused me...
You're not sure about my innocence.
I believe that you're innocent. I'm just not necessarily sure that I can trust myself to. Forget about what I believe. Forget about what you want me to believe. You are in trouble, and you could go away for it, and your very best chance at not going away is by telling me the truth. Did you kill the girl?
No, Eleanor. But it doesn't really matter, does it? If I can't convince you, what chance do I have with 12 strangers?
we all know what really happened. When Mr. Breyer killed that cat, it was the last straw. Can we understand why Anderson Pearson pulled that trigger? Of course. Who amongst us wouldn't be tempted? He'd had enough. I don't think the defense counsel really expects you to believe that he involuntarily pulled the trigger. This all comes down to a simple bet. The defense is wagering that you will say, to hell with the law, and endorse a vigilante. We bet, we hope you won't.
How dare anybody say we all know? None of us can pretend to know what that moment must have been like. When a man who has stalked you, a man who has vandalized your property, a man who is a diagnosed violent schizophrenic shows up at your front door, says he won't hurt you because he's just a mouse. The mouse that just strangled your cat. We all know. Like normal thought patterns go through your head at a moment like this. You heard Meredith Pearson tell you an hour ago it would be impossible to put yourself into my client's position. His hands started to tremble. His fingers slightly seized. The gun went off. You heard Anderson Pearson tell you that. Meredith Pearson saw it. John Schramm, an expert on this weapon, showed you how this kind of tremble with a light trigger and the auto recoil could cause this exact result. We all know. Like my associate predicted at the very start, the prosecution stayed far away from asking who's the good guy here, because that we do know. Anderson Pearson is no criminal. That we do know. The question here is, are you going to hand him a life sentence because we all know? It's just so easy, isn't it? I think we got a chance at reasonable doubt. But what Bullock said, it rang pretty true in there. I'd like to offer manslaughter right now. Parole, you'd be out in 3 years. It's crazy for us to roll with the alternative.
Prison?
3 years is better than 18 to life, Meredith. Professor. Professor. Clock is ticking. It could come back.
I'm tempted.
We both win with manslaughter, Gavin. 3 years. He shouldn't do more, he shouldn't do less.
I think he should do more, Bobby.
4? 4.5?
I'm going to reject the offer.
You really think they want to put him away?
Do they want to? No. But will they? I'm staying with murder, too.
You should have seen his face, Eugene. When I doubted him, he just fell from the inside out. I might as well have pronounced him dead.
You believe he's innocent?
I know it, Eugene. I know it.
Then we fight for him, Eleanor. Somebody else did it, we go to work on finding out who. We fight.
Will you first chair? I think I'm too close.
I'll first chair. And we'll win.
Mr. Donald, are you feeling confident about an acquittal?
We have nothing to say. Please excuse
Are you
us.
surprised the jury came back so quickly?
They're televising you?
She let cameras in for the verdict.
How long were they out? Less than 2 hours. What does that mean?
Acquittal.
Guilty.
Bring them in. Will the defendant please rise? Madam Foreperson, the jury has reached its verdict.
We have, Your Honor.
What say you?
Commonwealth versus Anderson Pearson on the charge of murder in the second degree. We find the defendant, Anderson Pearson, guilty.
The bailiff will take the defendant into custody. Members of the jury, we thank you for your service.
It'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
This matter is adjourned.
Will you help her?
We'll appeal. We'll explore whatever options.
Previously on the practice.
What? There's a head in the bag.
It's the woman I met at the bar last night.
What are you doing with her head?
I don't know. Somebody put it in there.
George Vogelman, you're under arrest for the murder of Susan Robin.
Give me one reason I should speak to you.
The reason is I don't think George Vogelman killed your daughter.
Your buddy George has a little home video library, Eleanor.
This isn't that perverted.
If this gets admitted into evidence, George is going to look like a sicko.
Let's mark up a motion to suppress.
Some of the tapes involve sexual scenes which border on sadomasochism.
This is a homicide case. It is not a sex crime.
I want to see the specific tapes we are talking about before
You
I
would.
make...
Eleanor?
I will see the tapes in question. Then I'll make my ruling.
Anderson Pearson, my stuffed shirt professor, he just shot somebody, dead.
Did you think he was about to kill you or your wife when you pulled the trigger?
Well, no, not at that second, but...
So you do have some memory of what you were thinking?
I didn't consciously pull it. It just went off.
You're trying to squeeze in self-defense, counsel.
We're not.
It's a nice try.
You are shutting down our whole defense.
I want our objection noted for the record.
So noted. Step back.
On the charge of murder in the second degree, we find the defendant, Anderson Pearson, guilty.
possibly spread a few more papers? In some places I can see the floor.
It's only for a couple of days, Helen. It's not as if the floor is clean underneath.
This is the Pearson appeal?
Yep.
You know, Lindsay, I don't mean to sound pessimistic.
Then don't.
Okay, could you at least clean the floor a little? This is a first date tonight.
So?
So, I'm not gonna bring a guy into my bedroom on the first date. If we're gonna go to town, it's gonna happen right here on this rug. Kidding, a joke. Come on, think back to when you had a sense of humor. When was the last time you even laughed?
Probably college. I came home one night, and there you were going to town with some guy on the rug. Kidding. I thought you swore off blind dates.
I did, but Lisa Nicole promised I wouldn't be disappointed. Here goes.
Helen?
Absolutely. Hi.
Hi. Ready?
Absolutely.
The biggest problem is the police aren't even looking for anybody else. They consider the case solved.
And their theory as to why I would carry around her head?
You're sick.
Look, George, my office has already spent about $20,000 on private investigators. I can't in good conscience ask my partners to spend any more. Do you have access to any money?
I've been in it for 2 months, Eleanor, with no income. I guess I could sell my car. I don't know what the value is.
All right, look, we have that motion to suppress the videotapes tomorrow, so...
Not that they're offering, but would you be at all open to a plea?
What kind of plea?
Manslaughter. Insanity.
No. I wouldn't be open to that.
Complete transcripts are expensive.
I asked for complete, Lucy. The hearing is scheduled for this afternoon.
Well, I can't listen without ears, which I won't have if you bite my head off.
What's going on?
I asked for all the trial transcripts. She only got pre-trial.
It's pre-trial rulings we're appealing.
I asked for them all.
Chomp, chomp, munch, munch.
Let's see.
Bobby, do you know what Jimmy's case is about?
His cousin, wrongful termination?
Yes, but do you know the details?
No.
Yeah, he fired this
What's
worker.
the problem, Rebecca?
The problem.
It's a 2-day trial, tops.
His cousin fired this woman for being Iranian.
He's being sued. I gotta defend him. He's my cousin.
What's your defense?
A defense?
Yes. On the charge of wrongful termination, what's your defense going to be?
She's Iranian. It's a jury trial.
If those tapes come into evidence, the jury's going to be prejudiced, and that's exactly why he wants to use them.
Sexual disorders certainly may be relevant.
He has an adult video collection. That doesn't suggest a sexual disorder, and that's exactly the kind of leap he wants a jury to make.
Your client allegedly cut off a woman's head, Mr. Young. Are you afraid the jury will think less of him because of his film library?
The issue is whether he cut off that head. That film library is not relevant to that issue. It's only being introduced to suggest some depravity.
And it's that pattern of depravity that goes to the issue of whether or not this man has the capacity to behead somebody.
The tapes are inadmissible. What else?
Your Honor.
They're not coming in, counsel.
They won't let you out for the hearing.
I heard.
This is the supplemental memorandum I'm filing. Basically, we're going to argue Judge Hiller was wrong not to let us argue self-defense.
Okay, look. I had some of the lawyers at my firm read the brief. They thought it was well written. But ultimately unpersuasive.
Tell your lawyers to go to the hearing. There's a reason we have oral arguments.
Oh, I didn't mean to be critical. I meant... Thank you for fighting so hard with so little to fight with.
There's no reason we have to give up.
I had been promoted twice within the last year, and I was going to be promoted to manager this January.
So things were going well at work?
Very well.
And what happened?
Well, last March I was getting ready to leave on vacation, and almost in passing, a coworker asked me where I was going. I told him I was going home to see my parents, and he asked me where home was.
Where is home?
Iran. I was born there.
And then what?
Suddenly I seemed to be facing kind of a cold front in the office. About a month later, Mr. Martini came to me and said things weren't working out, and he let me go.
Your relationship with your coworkers, you felt kind of a cold front.
Yes.
In fact, you went to my client and complained about this, right?
Yes.
People were being insubordinate. Isn't that the word you used?
I believe so.
Affecting your ability to be a productive manager.
Yes.
Why did you come to America, Miss Bader?
I first came as an exchange student in high school. Then I stayed on for college. Now I live here.
As an American citizen?
No, on a visa.
Do you plan to become an American citizen?
Not really.
You like Iran?
Yes.
How do you feel about all the terrorism that...
Objection.
Sustained. Mr. Berluti, let's take care.
Miss Bader, you're a proud Iranian.
Yes.
You honor this flag.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
I've told the police everything I know.
I understand. And Jay, we realize how hard this must be.
Please, don't insult my intelligence. You're the guy's lawyer, so...
The guy who killed your girlfriend is not George Vogelman. We think he was framed.
By who?
That we don't know.
One question that keeps coming up is, why would Susan be alone in a bar drinking? Why would she go to a motel with George Vogelman? By everybody's account, this is out of her character.
It is.
Her father getting cancer? Do you think she could have been depressed about that?
Could be.
Could it be something else?
Jay, you seem like an honest guy. We've got an innocent man looking at conviction. Part of their case is the notion that Susan could never have gone off on some one-nighter. Can you think of anything that could possibly explain why she would?
Police said this wouldn't have to come out.
What?
I had been a little unfaithful to Susan. That afternoon, she caught me.
Do you think maybe to retaliate, she could have gone home from the bar with some guy? Is that possible?
Miss Frutt, I have spent the last 2 months desperately trying to convince myself that that isn't possible.
You ought to go down there and peek in that courtroom.
Rebecca.
It's obscene. You want the Anti-Defamation League picketing our office?
It's a trial. Qualified immunity.
Well, that can't excuse it.
This office is getting way too hostile for me.
Why don't you just go and...
Come on, Bobby. We're late.
She was the manager, and her leadership ability was suffering.
Because she was Iranian?
I certainly don't agree with the bigotry, but I have a dry cleaners to run, and, well, it wasn't running so well.
What about calling a meeting, telling your employees that the bigotry won't be accepted?
It wasn't so much what people were doing, so much as what they were feeling, and I mean, I was powerless to control that.
And the feeling was anti-Iranian.
Anti-Iranian, anti-Arab, basically Middle East.
And you agree that this feeling was a form of prejudice?
Oh, of course.
But you tolerated it.
Well...
You fired her, Mr. Martini. We could say you ratified the bigotry.
Well, you could, but I had 18 workers come up and threaten to quit. My choice basically was either discharging your client or facing Chapter 11.
I see. And if Ms. Bader were black, and your workers threatened to quit because they didn't want to work with an African American, would you have fired her?
Probably not.
What's the difference?
Possibly none, but complaining about the color of a person's skin That's racism, which lies in hatred and ignorance. I mean, here I feel there was some patriotism involved, and I guess it wasn't quite as repulsive to me.
He willfully withheld evidence.
I did no such thing.
You have a duty to turn over all
Start
evidence.
with all
You
of
just
your
can't say.
I don't listen when two people talk.
They have an absolute duty to turn over all exculpatory evidence.
Material evidence. This...
Let him finish, please.
The boyfriend of the victim provided the prosecution with a reason that the victim may have gone to a bar and may have been predisposed to a one-night stand. He did not turn that information over to us.
Why not?
We didn't consider it either material or relevant.
What's the information?
She had caught him that very day with another woman.
Mr. Tisbury, the break you catch here is that this came out before trial.
Your Honor, that statement...
As of this second, I don't trust you. You're going into trial with a judge who doesn't trust you. So if you're going to make any more mistakes from this point on, I suggest you err to their side.
There was no willful attempt to withhold evidence.
Then how unfortunate that I don't believe you.
My position is that Judge Hiller erred when she denied our right to assert self-defense.
I see no such denial in the record.
If you read the transcript, she threatened us with a bad jury instruction if we went the route of self-defense.
It wasn't a ruling.
It was tantamount to a ruling. It had the effect of shutting us down.
Are you now suggesting that it was self-defense? Because that gives me a problem, counsel.
Which is?
At trial, you argued that the gun went off involuntarily. Your client testified to that. And now you're saying self-defense. Did your client commit perjury on the stand?
First of all, this hearing is about Judge Hiller's ruling, not my client's testimony.
So we should ignore the
Secondly, defendants can assert alternative defenses. We could have argued A, he shot him in self-defense, and B, it went off involuntarily. That's permissible. What this hearing is about is Judge Hiller denying us one of those defenses.
So basically you're saying had Judge Hiller not cut you off, self-defense would have been your theory?
Exactly. Are we all up to speed now?
Do you really mean to be snide with us, Miss Stoll?
Actually, yes. You wouldn't be asking these questions if you'd read my brief. I'm discouraged to realize you haven't. I hope you at least reprimand your clerks.
Let's just address your issue then.
She cut off self-defense because the victim wasn't posing an imminent threat. That was wrong. The threat to my client was both real and ongoing. Mr. Pearson was in fear of his life at the time he pulled the trigger.
The victim had no gun. My clerk did highlight that part.
In defining imminent, if you look at the cases, the courts basically come down to these questions. Was there any alternative? Could he have used less force? Could he have escaped? Could he have retreated? Could he have just held him at gunpoint until the police arrived?
In this situation, the answer seems to be yes to all of those options.
But the reality for all those options is that man would be back.
Perhaps, but as Judge Hiller noted, we weren't at that point when...
And to require him to wait till that point is unreasonable.
Are you asking us to rewrite the law?
No. Some states have recognized a kidnap exception. Basically, if a man kidnaps somebody and tells the victim he's going to kill them in a month, that victim doesn't have to wait a whole month until he's allowed to use deadly force.
True. But Mr. Pearson wasn't kidnapped.
In effect, he was. He was basically held captive. He'd gone to the police, they couldn't help. He got a restraining order from the court. It didn't help. The time was coming. And we're saying Anderson Pearson should have waited until the exact moment? Suppose Raymond Breyer came at night while they were sleeping.
There is no evidence of any direct threat to kill Mr. Pearson.
It was certainly implied. Yeah, I could argue it was direct with the cat-mouse exchange, and whether it was direct or not, Anderson Pearson had a reasonable belief that it was.
Well, it still seems like a reach to apply the
But we're entitled to that reach. Before a jury. Judge Hiller shut it down. It's error.
Time magazine or Newsweek?
They went easier on Ricky Jewell. Listen to this. Hapless podiatrist whose social life consisted of pornography videos and women he met through the personals. I was one of them.
Except you kept your head about it. I've spoken to every one of his friends.
And?
They all use 3 words to describe him. Gentle, kind, loner.
was in trouble?
The girl's father and brother have agreed to see me tomorrow. If they can't point us someplace, yeah, he's in trouble.
Did they rule?
Tomorrow. It went well. I seem to have their attention.
Great, let's get some dinner.
No, I'm gonna go back to the office, get on Westlaw. You know, there's a new case ruling like every 10 minutes.
Lindsay, take a break.
I'll take a break when it's over.
Is it ever gonna be over?
I'll see you at home.
Hey. She's been up till 3 o'clock in the morning every night since the trial. It's like some quest.
Helen, she's close to him. You know, she might win.
Oh, come on. Overturn Hiller.
You should have seen her.
You went to Mr. Martini and complained.
I did.
Threatened to quit even if she worked there.
Yes.
Because you didn't want to work side by side with a person of Iranian descent.
I don't have a problem with her as a person, but...
But what?
I'm not over the hostage thing. I admit it.
Mr. Harper, that was almost 20 years ago.
I really don't care. It all comes back. I see burning American flags. I see Khomeini. I get all pent up with anger.
But this woman wasn't in government. How...
The Iranian people cheered that government and they never apologized. In our government, we just forgave them because they got oil. Well, I can't forgive them.
This woman was 9 years old during the hostage crisis.
Well, she's old enough now to make a judgment. And when she looks me in the eye and says, I'm proud to be an Iranian, I don't want to work side by side with her.
Did she ever engage in any political or religious discourse at work?
No. And I'm sure she personally has never blown up an embassy. But imagine, they're carrying signs that say death to the U.S., and here she is in our country suing for a job. Ask me, the turban must have been wrapped too tight.
Go ahead. That last remark was unnecessary.
You asked me to testify and tell my feelings.
Just the same, you basically stood up and declared yourself a bigot.
I am prejudiced on this, but I think this is a bigotry I'm entitled to.
You're not the person I thought I knew, Ron.
Sally, I know I'm blaming you for something that has nothing to do with you. That doesn't mean I'm above it.
All right. You're represented by counsel, Miss Beta. It's not appropriate for us to have communication.
Yes. We wouldn't want to be inappropriate, would we?
Excuse me 1 second. Miss Beta, listen. I hope you don't take it personal, things I say. I have to put on a defense.
You're saying I should be ashamed of my dissent, Mr. Berluti. It's difficult not to take it personally.
I'm the lawyer. I gotta...
You're a little too good.
Could I at least make you a cup of coffee?
No, really, I'm fine.
Really? I feel like I should at least... No.
Well, lawyers work this hard?
Big case. Call me.
I will.
Bye.
I'll see you.
Morning.
You slept with him on a second date?
I didn't really sleep with him. We fell asleep watching TV, which wouldn't have happened, by the way, if I didn't have to bring him in there to escape your command post. What is all this? Oral arguments are over.
This is on sentencing. Should we lose the appeal?
Part of me hopes you do lose. I'm a little afraid if you win, Lindsay, a new trial. Can you survive going through all this again?
The trial was easy. Losing it was hard.
I'm a little concerned about you.
I'm fine.
Withdraw.
What that woman said to me, I'm having a hard time shaking it.
You're about to start closing arguments.
I know. I'm just not sure it's in me. I don't want to let my cousin down, but...
Jimmy, if you came to me with this case at the beginning, I would have stopped you from taking it. It's offensive. It puts a bad light on you and the firm. But there's no way you can bail at closings. I mean, it's not even a question.
Yeah. I guess.
And Jimmy, don't phone it in. The
police discouraged us from talking to you.
As I told your dad, I'm convinced they got the wrong guy. And if they do, that means that this thing was either a mission to frame George Vogelman or somebody was after your sister.
And as we told the police, we don't know of any such person who would want to harm her.
Her boyfriend, Jay? Did you ever see any predisposition with him and your sister?
Jay?
I'm grasping, Steve.
Jay's a sweet kid.
Did he ever show a temper? What if he had followed your sister, found her with George Vogelman?
Jay couldn't have done this.
Did your sister... Is it possible that your sister could have kept some part of her life secret?
Mr. Young, I feel I know my daughter pretty good. Truth is, I can't believe in a million years that she'd go to some motel with a guy she met in a bar. Which leads me to think that your guy had to have done it.
But, Mr. Robin, you couldn't believe she would even go to a bar alone. So it's possible that... Steve, help me out. Is there some other side to her?
If there was, I never saw it. The only...
What? The only what?
She did spend a lot of time on the internet, talking up people she didn't know.
Would you say that in court?
I don't know. I guess.
After careful review, we agree with Ms. Dole's position that self-defense should have been available to the defendant at trial. Whether the danger posed to Mr. Pearson was eminent enough to justify the use of excessive force, it's a question of fact, which should have been offered to the jury. We therefore rule that Judge Hiller's position was in error. However, it is not evident on the record that Judge Hiller actually ruled in this matter, thereby prohibiting self-defense. And if defense counsel's assertion is true, that her warning was in effect a ruling, then the proper procedure was interlocutory appeal, which was waived by proceeding to trial. The conviction of Anderson Pearson, therefore, stands. We're adjourned.
It's easy to hate Iranians, isn't it? And Arabs. They blow up airplanes, buildings. When that bomb went off in Oklahoma City, we all had the same knee-jerk reaction. Probably some Middle East terrorist. Let's admit it, we don't like these people. And I understand the sentiment. Many of us share Mr. Harper's frustration with the hostage crisis. That's an old but deep wound. But I take exception to his message that it's good old American patriotism to discriminate against anyone from the Middle East. That's not the country I know. America stands for tolerance. The United States rebelled against oppression, against prejudice. Or do we? Mr. Harper's statement, hey, she makes me angry because of Khomeini. That's like saying, hey, the Japanese stir up these Pearl Harbor memories. Let's get rid of them. We did that here once, remember? Rounded up all the Japanese, threw them in internment camps. Didn't matter they were U.S. citizens, didn't matter they were innocent. They were of Japanese descent. And this country, we're ashamed of that little piece of history. Well, here we go again. Because today's Cold War is against terrorism. And it's just so easy to hate the towel heads, isn't it?
She may have hooked up with some psycho from the internet. Maybe he was stalking her.
Even so.
What even so? Can't your guy start running that down?
Eleanor, again, off the record.
Sure.
This case is pretty hot copy. The police want to mark solved on the file. The DA's office wants to mark conviction. If anything turns up indicating it could have been somebody else, forget about getting a conviction. Your guy was last seen with her. He had her head. If George Vogelman didn't do it, he certainly represents reasonable doubt for whoever did.
What are you saying? They'd rather get a conviction than catch the right guy?
Not really, but their need for a conviction helps them to think they have the right guy.
Oh, that's great. What's the punchline, Helen?
They're not going to reopen the investigation.
When this trial started, I gotta admit, I was one of those people who sometimes have those thoughts. See some terrorist attack on the news, I'd say to hell with all of them. A lot of people in this country think the best thing about Iranians is that they kill Iraqis. But in Miss Bader, you saw a woman of dignity, integrity. And not that this is relevant, but having somebody like her as the mother of my children, I should be so lucky. But this isn't about her. It's about the actions of Peter Martini. Was his firing of her reasonable? Under normal times, no. But with what's going on today, yes. True, he could have said prejudice is prejudice and not fired her, in which case his staff might have quit and he'd be out of business. And as for the prejudice itself, sorry, but it's not the same as bigotry against blacks. This is different. There's a war going on here. Like Ms. Warden said, and the president said, terrorism is today's war. Somebody who didn't look like a killer put a bomb in the World Trade Center. We can expect more such attacks since we bombed Sudan. And I don't mean to suggest for 1 second that Ms. Bader is connected in any way to anything bad. But it is people's right to be afraid. Our government is telling us to be afraid. This war, the battlefields are subways, buildings, airports, who knows where. And as the president said, the Republicans too. In our fight against fanaticism, innocent people will unfortunately be victims. I think the question you have to ask yourselves is this. If an Iranian or Arab came to you looking for work, would you hire him, knowing it would upset personnel? If you can answer that question with an easy yes, fine for the plaintiff. But if your answer is probably not, all I ask is that you go back there and be honest with yourselves.
Go home.
I would, but it cramps Helen's love life.
Lindsay. Go home.
And do what? Put my feet up, watch a movie while he sits in jail?
You've done everything you can. I was in the back of that appeals court. I've never seen a better performance by any lawyer anywhere. But it's over. You have to let go of it now.
Doesn't it bother you? And he's facing life imprisonment because of our screw-up.
He's facing prison because he shot and killed a man.
No, Bobby, it's because we blew it, especially you. You screwed up the most.
Me?
Yes, you. That ridiculous involuntary argument. It was stupid, and you know why we went with it? Because it was a brainstorm. You got all high off the idea like you always do over stunts. If it's novel, you want to try it, and because we did, a good man has lost his life.
Is that what you think?
Yes. And we screwed up by not appealing Judge Hiller's ruling. That's what cost us that appeal. It was malpractice. You know, the only upside is it gives us new grounds. What you see on this table is research on inadequate counsel.
drug dealers I have put back out there, and him.
You gonna wait here all day?
They said they're close to a verdict. It's not like I have a job to go to.
Listen, what I said about your integrity and stuff, I meant that.
I know you did. And that stuff about it being reasonable to fear us, you meant that too, didn't you? The most discouraging part is that I can tell you're a really nice man.
Part of me hopes I lose.
Me too.
You want me to what?
Just what I said.
This is the judicial part of the process, counsel. I don't give orders to the police on how to investigate their case.
I'm asking you to order them to investigate, period.
We have.
You haven't. Had in a handbag, that's enough? You're afraid of investigating for fear it'll come between open and shut.
I'm offended by that, Eleanor.
What have you really done?
Everything. Forensics, DNA.
What about the poet? Did you go down that path?
The who?
There is a serial killer known as the Poet, Your Honor. One of our former clients was convicted of trying to copy him. He rapes and decapitates...
Different M.O.
Well,
than the...
maybe he mixed things up for spice this time.
We considered the poet. Our investigation points to George Vogelman and George Vogelman alone.
We also have evidence that the victim had contacts with people on the internet.
Look, counsel, you're free to conduct your own investigation. You want time? I'll give it to you.
We don't have any money. They have an unlimited budget. My client is broke.
Well, I can't do anything about that, and I can't order them to keep looking if they're convinced they have the killer. If their thinking is suspect, we have the device to deal with that. We call it the trial.
Every criminal defendant has to rely on the integrity of the process. Not just me, not just you, but the police and the DA too.
And we have nothing but your protests to suggest they haven't done their jobs. A shoddy investigation is a defense counsel's dream. If you think you've got one, take advantage.
It's not that simple.
Unfortunately, it is. That's all.
Your Honor.
That's all.
Basically, I want to make a list of every noble accomplishment, every act of charity, anybody you can think who can stand up for you at sentencing and be effective.
Okay.
I'm still working on the other appeal, so in the meantime, you know, there's a big difference between 18 years and life, so...
What's your feeling?
Hiller's tough. She's more likely to go maximum than minimum. You know, any awards you've received, you know, things like that. I want to know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We let you down?
No, you didn't, Lindsay. I let you down.
I'll be back on Friday for the list.
You okay?
Yeah.
Foreperson, you've reached your verdict.
We have, Your Honor.
What say you?
Bader versus Martini. On the count of wrongful termination, we find in favor of the defendant, Peter Martini.
Yes! Thank you, Jimmy.
Sure.
Quiet down, please. As a matter of law, I set aside the jury's verdict. I order the defendant to pay damages in the amount of $220,000. I'd hoped you'd reach the right result. It would have saved us an appeal. Since you didn't, judgment is hereby entered for the plaintiff, notwithstanding the verdict. Let me note my disgust for the defendant on the record, for the defendant's attorney, and finally for the jury. Ms. Bader, please accept the apology of this court. Adjourned.
Ms. Bader. Ms. Bader. That part about me being a nice man, well, I am a nice man. And I know this might seem, well, once you get on that elevator, then I might never... Do you think you would like to have a cup of coffee with me sometime?
You're asking me out?
No. Well, a little.
Under the circumstances, that's not something I can see myself doing.
Okay.
But I'm flattered.
We're better off than we were yesterday. The videotapes are out, and this internet thing gives us at least a crack. Mainly, though, it's gonna fall on you, George. You gotta take the stand and convince the jury that you never could have done this.
Okay.
Okay? I'll be in touch. Right? You hang in there.
Eleanor? Give me the odds.
We're gonna do everything we can, George. I'd be lying to you if I told you I think we were gonna win.
Hey.
Hey. Bobby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean...
Forget about it.
I've just been... I hate myself for crying.
I know. Look, this whole office is here for you. Whatever you need.
Thank you.
I'm here for you. You know that, right? What?
Nothing. I was just thinking... Sometimes I just... Previously on the practice.
There's a head in the bag.
The woman I met at the bar last night.
What are you doing with her head?
Somebody put it in there.
George Vogelman, you're under arrest for the murder of Susan Robin.
The guy who killed your girlfriend is not George Vogelman. Part of their case is the notion that Susan could never have gone off on some one-nighter. Can you think of anything that can explain why she would?
I had been a little unfaithful to Susan.
As I said to your dad, I'm convinced they got the wrong guy. That means that this thing was either a mission to frame George Vogelman or somebody was after your sister. Is it possible that your sister could have kept some part of her life secret?
She did spend a lot of time on the internet.
Your guy was last seen with her. He had her head. If George Vogelman didn't do it, he certainly represents reasonable doubt for whoever did.
What do you say?
They're not going to reopen the investigation.
I don't give orders to the police on how to investigate their cases.
I'm asking you to order them to investigate, period.
Well, I can't order them to keep looking if they're convinced they have the killer. If their thinking is suspect, we have the device to deal with that. We call it the trial.
Jay, I really appreciate your willingness to testify.
I'm not going to be that much help, Miss Frutt. Can't say I think your client is innocent.
I know, but you are the only one who can supply a possible reason why your girlfriend would have gone to a motel with George Vogelman.
I'm not crazy about helping the guy who killed my sister.
All we're asking is that you talk about the internet thing.
I can't.
Dr. Roberts, you know George Vogelman better than anybody.
But I wouldn't be able to say that I truly know him. I see him at work. Look, his being arrested for this crime, it's hurt the whole office. I really don't want to step into a witness chair and associate our medical corporation with
He was an usher at your wedding.
And I couldn't imagine him doing what they're accusing him of. But nor could I imagine his taste for pornography or his going home from bars with strangers. At best, all I could testify to is that I thought I knew him.
Even his friends have pulled away.
What have you got?
No history of violence, reputation for honesty, came forward on his own volition.
Loner.
Advertises in the personals. Likes porno.
Keeps to himself.
All right.
How many friends or associates you talk to?
Dozen, maybe more.
Anybody say they really knew the guy? I mean, completely?
No.
Great.
Okay, this is what I think. They go to the motel, then this woman rejected him at the wrong time. Maybe he felt sexually humiliated or whatever. This is the ultimate ridicule, and then he snapped.
Chopped off her head.
Now, what's he gonna do? He's got no chance of getting away with it. He's got a better shot at making it look like he was framed.
So he sticks her head in his medical bag, and the big show begins.
Loner.
Foot doctor. He did it.
Got mad, lost his head.
The loner.
Is that it? Anything else?
There's no death penalty in Massachusetts, right?
You keep your head up, George. Don't be shaking it. No, no, no. Just keep your head up. They're gonna tell their story, and then we're gonna get to tell ours.
Okay.
Bathroom, anybody need to go?
All set.
I went.
Okay.
Last seen with her. Her severed head was in his possession. Her blood was in his car. As our case will show, there is not one piece of physical or testimonial evidence that points to anybody other than George Vogelman. That's because George Vogelman gruesomely, hideously murdered Susan Robin. It's not even a question.
Sometimes how things look are not how they are. And there's a reason we bother with the trial. All we ask is that you be objective and you pay close attention to everything you hear.
Mr. Tisbury.
Commonwealth calls Helen Gamble to the stand.
His attorneys called and asked me to come down to their offices.
Why did they call you, Miss Gamble?
One of the attorneys there is my roommate, another one I've dated.
So they figured in you they'd get a sympathetic district attorney.
I don't think they were expecting special treatment. They wanted to surrender a client and hoped I could help them do it quietly.
Did they tell you any details about the case?
No, they simply asked me to come to the offices. They said it was serious.
So you went?
Yes.
And what happened after you got there?
They took me into a room and informed me that their client had a human head in his medical bag.
How did you respond?
I thought they were joking. Then they pointed to the bag.
Is this the bag?
Yes.
Mark and identify, Your Honor.
Marked, Exhibit 1.
And what happened next, Ms. Gamble?
They asked me to look in the bag.
And did you?
Yes.
And what did you see?
A human head.
Now, Miss Gamble, if I could...
You gotta be kidding me.
Objection!
Counsel, is what's in that cooler what I think it is?
Chain of custody, Your Honor.
I object to that.
In chambers, counsel. Members of the jury, 10 minutes. Let's go.
Just bringing that thing in is grounds for a mistrial.
You want a mistrial on the first witness, Eleanor?
That's a stunt to inflame the jury.
Would it be all right if I talk? It better be good.
Your Honor, the fact that this is so grotesque, it's relevant.
How?
He had it in his bag. Anybody who could carry something like that around, it's evidence of the kind of psychotic mind that goes with the very crime.
First of all, he didn't know it was in his bag.
Even under your theory, he didn't do it. He knowingly had it in his bag for more than 3 hours before he called.
Because he panicked.
You make your arguments, I'll make mine. Your Honor, they'll be saying he behaved like an innocent man. As soon as he saw it, he called the police. Well, that's not what he did. He carried it back to his car, drove to his lawyer's office, carried it up the elevator.
You can introduce all that without bringing the head into
He
court.
wants to horrify the jury, Your Honor. That's...
I maintain that's relevant. A reasonable person would be horrified. A reasonable person would repulse and not even approach the bag again, much less pack it up, go to the car.
Counsel.
It's legitimate for the jury to experience some of the horror so they can assess what's a reasonable reaction under the circumstances.
The head is inadmissible.
I want him sanctioned in open court, Your Honor. The cooler alone...
Why don't you just be satisfied with my ruling and leave it there?
That's just ice settling.
He then gave me the address of the motel that he and the victim had gone to.
And did you go there?
Yes, along with Detective McCrew and Attorney Frutt. We went there and discovered the body.
Mr. Vogelman cooperated at all times, did he not?
Yes, he did.
In fact, the only reason you or the police know a crime had even been committed is because Mr. Vogelman came forward.
That's true.
And blood scrapings from the floorboards of his car.
Exact genetic match with the victim.
They seemed friendly at the bar, but there was nothing sexual going on.
Did they leave your bar together, sir?
No, he left, and then she left about 10 or 15 minutes later.
My daughter was not a promiscuous woman.
Well, even if she would go to a bar, which I guess she did, I could never see her going back to a motel with some guy she just met. Plus...
Plus what?
Sorry, but he's kind of old and not very good looking.
The only samples in the room belonged to the victim or the defendant.
So if somebody else did go in there...
It had to be immaculate.
It's happened? Murders leaving behind no physical evidence whatsoever? It has happened?
Yes, but the odds of
It's
this...
happened, yes or no, Detective?
Yes.
And Detective, you're familiar with a serial killer known as the Poet?
We don't believe that
the question
Poet...
is, are you familiar with a serial killer known as the Poet?
Yes.
Again, yes or no. This person decapitates his victims, yes or no?
Yes.
But you ruled him out.
The Poet severs the hands as well and leaves the head behind. He doesn't take it with him.
It's gone as well as can be expected.
This is going well? Even I'm beginning to think I'm guilty.
Look, everything they put in, we were ready for. It's not like they put up some surprise witness that said you've done some strange things to cats or something. George, you know what I mean. We've expected all of this testimony. It's not that it's not damaging, but there haven't been any surprises.
So what now?
We might want to rest.
Rest?
Well, think about it. All they've proven is two things. He was with her, he had her head.
Pretty good proof, ask me.
No weapon, no eyewitness. They tied him to a corpse, not a crime.
Still,
You can't rest on that.
Look, I'm not saying it's the thing to do, but let's face it. What do we have? Nice guy? Maybe we should just say to the jury, hey, we were ready to put on the defense, but since they didn't make their burden, we don't need to.
That is such a risk.
We already sprinkled on the idea of the poet.
Internet, maybe a stalker?
You can't rest.
Pretty
I
lame.
don't know.
Eugene, he looks completely guilty. You can't just get up and say they didn't make their burden. That's stupid.
Well, maybe we could say he involuntarily cut her head off 5 times.
Oh, that's real funny.
Call me stupid?
I didn't call you stupid. I said it would be stupid to rest.
All right. Eleanor, what do you think?
Well, I see Eugene's point, but I don't think a jury is going to let him go on a burden of proof thing. I think our best defense is George. He's honest, and he plays honest.
If George didn't do it, then who?
It's not our job to answer that question.
Well, I realize this, but it's the question I keep asking, and the jury's going to be asking it back in that room.
You tell me. I'm not going to advance a theory that I can't support.
Hold on.
There's nothing I can do.
If I understand your thinking on this, Eleanor, the police basically stopped looking. That should be your defense. The only reason we don't know who else, if not George, is because the police never asked that question. That's what you have to key on.
The guy had her head in his bag. We're going to put the police on trial for not asking
putting
who
the
else
police
could have
on
done it?
trial.
You guys are playing games. At the end of the day, he had her head. That's got nothing to do with any faulty investigation. He had her head.
So tell us what to do, Einstein.
I
You know
think he's
something,
right.
Lindsay?
You
You've been
can't be
bitchy a lot.
playing reasonable
lately.
games. He's right. You can't be playing reasonable
They-
doubt games. I agree with Jimmy.
I'm a bitch?
On his defense there, you have to defend George. You can't be attacking the police.
We got to do both. We got to put George up, let him be as convincing as he can be, and we got to open the door to other possibilities.
Excuse me, hello. Boyfriend lives alone, brother, big house.
So?
So, the murder took place between 1 and 3 a.m. Why weren't they considered?
They were checked out. They're both choir boys.
Yeah, but still no official alibi if everyone's asleep. Why not plan B them? They're gonna testify anyway.
What's plan B?
It might be worth a try.
Give them a soft plan B.
What's plan B? Yeah, talk about a risk.
You got any better ideas?
All right, but first, we have to be sure it won't backfire.
Plan B, soft, for both.
Comb every report. Make sure it's really available.
They both gave statements.
Dissect them.
You take the boyfriend, I got the brother.
What the hell is plan B?
Basically, it means we point the finger at other people. It's very dangerous because normally when the defense starts hatching theories of their own, the jury can shift the burden back to us, which we definitely do not want.
And when you say soft?
Our soft plan B is we do it more gently. Instead of accusing, it's more like what-ifing. It's less likely to alienate the jury, but it's a risky strategy.
Well, then why do it?
Because we don't have much else to go with. What?
The things that I've been reading about myself in the papers. I'm not a big fan of accusing people falsely.
George, this is a murder trial here. You're the defendant. First, I want to thank you for testifying, Jay. And second, I want to convey my sympathy. You were Susan Robbins' boyfriend,
Yes,
and you loved her.
I did.
Jay, we've heard a lot of testimony to the effect that it was uncharacteristic for Susan to have gone to a bar alone, and especially to a motel with a man she had just met. Would you agree with that testimony?
Yes.
I know this is a difficult question, and I thank you in advance for your honesty. But you do know of a reason why she may have behaved uncharacteristically that night, don't you?
A possible reason.
Could you share that with us?
Susan had discovered me with another woman the day of her death.
So it could have been she went to a bar and then to a motel with another man out of hurt, as a way of lashing back?
I don't think she would do that. I really don't, but I can't exclude the possibility, no.
Jay, Do you have any information on Susan's death?
No.
You were home when this happened? Asleep?
Excuse me, Your Honor. Could I confer with counsel 1 second?
Make it fast.
Jimmy interviewed one of the cops. This guy supposedly was on the phone with the other woman till 2 in the morning.
Why wasn't that in the report?
I don't know, but you can't plan B him. We'll get clipped.
What about the brother?
Still a shot there. I hope.
Okay, Jay, that's all I have. Nothing further, Your Honor.
What happened?
He had an alibi. Look, it still went okay. Any idea that you maybe abducted her, we put a dent in that.
These are very small victories, it seems.
Anything new on the brother? At all?
No.
I'd go hard.
What? And look like a monster?
I will soften it on close. Go for him.
Something about somebody on a chat line. That's all she said.
Somebody she was having a relationship with on the internet?
She didn't really give details. My sister and I weren't too close lately.
Well, why was that?
Well, since my father had become ill, there was a lot of tension. I had a business that failed and had moved back home. She didn't think that was helping my dad's stress level. It was just family stuff. The point is, we didn't share a lot of intimate secrets.
Steve, do you think this stuff, your dad's illness, your business problems, could they have added to your sister's stress level?
I'm sure they did.
Maybe caused her to go to a bar just to have a drink, talk to somebody?
That I don't know.
You didn't know she'd gone to a bar?
Me? No.
Or to a motel with Mr. Vogelman?
No. How would I have known that?
Well, you know if you'd followed her.
What?
Did you follow your sister that night?
Objection. Excuse
Permission
me?
to treat this witness as hostile, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
This witness is the brother of the victim. Permission to treat him as hostile.
Go ahead.
This business failure of yours, did you incur any debt?
Is there an offer of proof?
Sit down, Mr. Tisbury.
How much money did you lose, Steve?
About $300,000.
You owe this amount to people?
I had investors, yes.
Your father, he has liver cancer, isn't that right?
Yes.
He was diagnosed with about 8 months to live?
Yes.
According to his will, if you know, who inherits his estate?
I guess me.
You guess you. You're the sole beneficiary.
Yes.
But if your sister was still alive, then there'd be 2 beneficiaries, wouldn't there?
What are you saying?
I'm saying that it works out well for you having your sister die before your dad.
Objection.
What? If she'd outlived him, then the estate goes sideways, maybe split.
Objection.
All right. Mr. Young?
This witness has testified to his estrangement with his sister. He has testified to his debt. He is also the only one to serve up the internet red herring, perhaps to use as a safety net in case suspicion ever fell to him.
Move to strike all of that.
I am entitled to question this witness.
Go ahead.
Anybody with you the night of your sister's murder, Steve?
I was home. My father was home.
Were you home before your father went to bed?
No.
When did you get home?
Probably around midnight.
Did he see you come in?
He goes to bed at 10.
Ever take any medication for depression, Steve?
Objection.
Overruled.
You ever take any medication for a mental condition, Steve?
I take lithium.
For depression?
Yes.
Did you murder your sister and frame George Vogelman?
Objection!
Did you follow her to the bar, then go to the motel?
Objection!
Overruled.
It was the perfect opportunity, wasn't it? You could get George Vogelman's address by running down his plates. After he leaves the motel, you go inside, make yourself a sole beneficiary, and then go to plant the head in George's car. You see the bag and think, even better. Wipe out a debt and sibling rivalry all in a night's work.
That's sick!
Did the police ever question you in connection with your sister's death?
Of course they didn't.
They never even brought you down for questioning?
No, they did not.
Maybe you pulled off the perfect crime, Steve.
Objection!
Sustained.
Maybe you were that good.
Objection!
Mr. Young.
Withdrawn. It's a shame. Well, the jury either really hates us...
Or we created some doubt. I think you did great.
Eleanor, the kid lost his sister. I just accused him of killing her. Meanwhile, his dad is dying. Do not try to make me feel good.
It's possible he could have done it?
That's not important. What is you're up next.
Okay.
George, you've got to just speak the truth from your heart. If the jury can see you for who you really are, they will have to question whether you could have done this. And remember, you cannot say anything that goes to your character. We cannot open that door. We cannot give them any chance to introduce those porno videos.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to look at the jury. You've got nothing to hide.
Right.
Okay. I'll see you after lunch.
It's in his hands now.
He'll be fine.
You asked us to trust you. My boy got up because you convinced him to honor the truth.
Mr. Robin, I got an innocent man about to go down for a crime he didn't commit.
Eugene? Eugene?
You just stole my son's innocence. You're garbage. You'll need to come with me.
Ow!
Last one. I can freeze it some more.
It's okay.
Excuse me.
I'm Lucy Hatcher. I have new clothes for him. He's due back in court.
Can you wait outside?
Sure. Wow. You just bashed your head in for calling his son the killer?
Something like that.
Make sure you tell him to rub vitamin E on. It'll help with the scar.
Thank you. You know, you really could wait outside.
Sure. Eleanor says it's a half hour till George.
And when I opened my bag, there it was.
Her head?
Yes.
And what did you do next?
First, I went into a little shock. Then I came to you, my lawyer. And together we went to the police.
Do you know of anybody who would want to incriminate you like this?
No.
George, you have to know how this looks. Can't you tell us anything?
All I can tell you is, I didn't kill this woman. We made love. I left. And she was alive.
Why didn't you go back to your place? Why a motel?
My place wasn't very impressive. Or neat.
You leave a bar after midnight with a woman you just met. You're worried about neatness?
Yes.
So you said, let's go to a motel, and she said yes. A 23-year-old, beautiful woman. She said, sure.
That's what happened.
And after you made love, why'd you leave? Why not spend the night?
I had a very early morning at work.
Anybody see you leave the motel?
Not that I know of.
Anybody see you when you got home?
Not that I know of.
Anybody you know of who could testify that it's against your character to kill a person?
Objection. Sustained.
Mr. Vogelman, basically, all you have to suggest your innocence is your word. Do you have any evidence or witnesses to corroborate your word is worth anything?
Objection, sidebar.
Step up.
He's trying to force us into character testimony so he can backdoor the videos on impeachment.
Any witness who takes the stand puts his truthfulness in issue. I'm entitled to cross.
Attack him on truthfulness if you want, but don't be asking what witnesses or evidence he has. Step back.
Mr. Vogelman, you married?
No.
Girlfriend?
No.
Have you ever had a girlfriend?
No.
Ever been in any relationship?
I've dated.
You've dated. How old are you, sir?
43.
43 years old, and you've never had a relationship.
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
What about high school, even? Did you go to your high school prom?
Objection.
Sustained. Let's keep things current, counsel.
Do you meet women through the personals?
Sometimes I do.
You sometimes go to bars, meet women there?
Yes.
Ever meet a woman on the internet? Ever meet a woman on the internet, Mr. Vogelman?
Yes.
Are you the man Susan Robin met on the internet?
No.
Did she go to that bar to meet you, the man on the internet?
No. I met her at the bar. I never communicated with her on the internet.
Just one last hypothetical, Mr. Vogelman, and then I'll be done. Say this woman meets a man on the internet. He maybe oversells himself just a little. She agrees to meet him. She's disappointed, rejects him. And this man, who's been rejected so many times, has finally had enough.
Objection. This is an argument, not a question.
Enough is enough, right, George?
Objection.
Sustained. Do you have any more questions, Mr. Tisbury?
No, Your Honor. I don't believe I do.
Counsel? Ms. Frutt?
Nothing, Your Honor.
The witness may step down.
Any ideas? I hate to rest on that.
Should we redirect?
I don't think so. It could get worse.
Maybe we...
What?
I have an idea. The defense recalls Helen Gamble. She's right back there.
Ms. Gamble, step up, please.
What are you doing?
Ms. Gamble, please take the stand. I remind you, you're still under oath.
What's going on?
You testified the reason we called you that day is because of your relationship with our office.
I assumed that was the reason you called me.
Well, does our office enjoy a certain trust with you?
I would think so.
And a candor?
Yes.
And in the spirit of that candor, did you and I have a conversation about this case last week?
Objection.
Overruled.
Did we talk about this case? Miss Gamble, did you and I discuss this case?
Briefly and generally.
And did you tell me that the police and the DA's office both just wanted a check solved in the little box next to...
Objection!
Overruled.
Let me speed things up. Did you basically tell me that given the publicity, a conviction is desperately needed here? That if anybody else were charged with this crime, your office would never get that conviction? Since George Vogelman having the head in his medical bag would guarantee reasonable doubt to whoever else was charged? And because of that, the police and the DA's office, on at least an unconscious level, might want to believe that George Vogelman is the killer and therefore not bother to look for anybody else? Did you share all that with me?
First, I have no direct information on this case. Second...
Please just respond.
I am responding. It was a long question, counsel.
Your Honor?
She can answer.
I never suggested or even hinted that somebody else besides George Vogelman committed this crime.
I didn't ask what you thought.
And I never suggested that the DA's office wasn't convinced of your client's guilt.
Did you say they might not want to look further? That it's easier to believe you've got the right guy when there's pressure to get a conviction?
I said sometimes it's been known to happen. I didn't say it happened here.
Yes, but you said it's been known to happen in a conversation about this case. Didn't you?
Again, I have no reason to believe that this particular investigation has been anything but proper and thorough.
Thank you. That was a good answer for the team.
Are you suggesting the investigation's tainted?
I think there was collusion between the police and the DA's office.
Got nothing to say right now.
Get out! What the hell was that, Eleanor?
Helen, I'm sorry.
You just cut my legs out. Sorry. I tell you something in confidence and you ambush me in open court?
I had to make a choice. I had a duty to my client.
No good. You screwed me in this office for the last time.
I was backed into a...
That's crap.
She's right.
What was I going to do? Tell George, hey, I could have saved you, but...
George isn't the only client in this firm.
No, Pearson is.
She's right, Eleanor. We need our credibility with every case, not just this one.
It's not something I planned to do.
But you did it! We have to rely on relationships with DAs a lot. Sometimes those off-the-cuff conversations make the difference. You think any DA down there is going to want to talk to us again?
So I should let George go down so we can preserve our invites to the Christmas parties?
Yes. Our dialogue with that office is more important than any one case.
I gotta deal with them on sentencing next week. I'm sure they'll be in great moods to...
Get over your professor, Lindsay. What did you do, sleep with the guy?
Hey, Eleanor.
I love it when girls fight. It's better than hockey.
Quiet, Lucy. Back up, Eleanor. Back up. You too. I don't care what the stakes are. If the DA has an off-the-record conversation with any of us, it stays off the record. Otherwise, it's like Lindsay says. We lose our credibility in every case.
Well, tell that to the drowning man, that you're more concerned about the boat.
I am not talking to a drowning man, Eleanor. I am talking to you.
Let's everybody settle down a little. There's a lot of stakes for a lot of people. Tearing each other new armpits isn't going to help anybody.
Of course they had to arrest George Vogelman. The victim's head was in his possession. I don't blame the police for thinking he did it. How could they not? How could you not? But there's a reason nobody saw him commit the crime. There's a reason there was no weapon connected to him. He didn't do it. Who did? I don't know. You heard my co-counsel grill Susan Robbins' brother as a possible suspect. Well, let me admit a truth. We don't have any direct evidence to conclude the brother did it. If so, we certainly would have offered it. But he did have a motive. He was estranged from her. His debt, the will, his whereabouts at the time can't really be accounted for. He could have done it. The reason we can't know is because the police never bothered to check that out. Steve Robbins said himself that they never even questioned him. Imagine. He has motive, opportunity, no alibi, and they didn't even investigate him as a possibility. Why? Because the head was found in George Vogelman's medical bag. And Jay Hickman, Susan's boyfriend? I have no reason to believe that he killed her, but his whereabouts can't be accounted for either. Motive? Well, she was with another man in a motel. And just who was she talking to on the internet? There are a lot of questions left unanswered here because the police never really looked. You heard District Attorney Helen Gamble admit it's possible they didn't want to find anybody else because they needed to get a conviction on this. And the head, being in George Vogelman's bag, he was the only one they could possibly convict. Easier to stay with him and not complicated. Any evidence offered as to George Vogelman's motive? No. And why, if he is supposedly trying to get away with a crime, does he put the victim's head in a bag and go to the police with it? Does that make sense? And let's not forget about the poet, a known serial killer out there in the Boston area that has an MO for decapitating victims. Has anybody accounted for him? There are a lot of questions that need answering. Questions that were never asked or explored because this just seemed so simple. The head was in his bag. He must have done it. Well, he didn't. I have no doubt the prosecution needs that conviction. They surely do. But they are prosecuting the wrong man.
No evidence, not even microscopic, of anybody else being in that room except George Vogelman. Defense counsel gave us quite a show, didn't they? The brother did it. No, maybe it was the boyfriend. That serial killer. Forensics combed that room. There were saliva samples, fibers from clothing, semen, hair strands, fingerprints. They didn't go to a serial killer, or Susan Robbins' brother, or her boyfriend. They all belonged to George Vogelman. The man who says he went home alone. The man who sits there with no alibi. Yes, it was easy to conclude he did it. And on top of all the insurmountable evidence at the scene, he had the victim's head. My God, he decapitated a woman. And his lawyers have offered you nothing but spin as a defense. Did they put in one piece of physical or testimonial evidence? Anything at all exculpatory? No, just spin. He did it. No, he did it. Look there, over here. Don't forget that police conspiracy, collusion with the DA. And they expect you to let him go? They're not insulting your intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. They're assuming you just don't have any.
Got any predictions?
Innocent, guilty, or hung.
How long before?
There's no telling.
Eugene, could you excuse us a second?
Sure.
All the evidence is closed, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to tell you something. We both know I've always had some motive to tell you I'm innocent. It allowed you to let me testify. It allowed you to, I don't know, try harder. But now, the evidence being closed, it doesn't matter what I tell you. I didn't do it. When you looked at me a few months ago, you said you believed in me, but you couldn't fully trust yourself to believe in what you believe. You can trust yourself, Eleanor. You've been right all along. I didn't do it.
You know, in the future, if you're gonna hurl a book at someone, it should be at somebody your own size. She was about to flatten you.
I'll try to remember that.
And also, I'm a pretty good judge of character. Eleanor, I think normally she's peaceful. But when riled, she looks dangerous.
Well, maybe you should tell her that.
You think I'm crazy? I knew you were there.
I'm sorry what I said about Pearson.
I know.
I'm sorry about the book.
Dummy undolent Fred.
And I'm sorry about my intent to flatten. I know saying sorry isn't gonna cut it for Helen, but
I'll work on her.
You guys. Verdict.
Will the defendant please rise? Mr. Foreman, the jury has reached a unanimous verdict.
We have.
What say you?
Commonwealth versus George Vogelman on the count of murder in the first degree. We find the defendant, George Vogelman, not guilty.
I'd never hear that.
The defendant is free to go.
Can you give us a
What do you think changed the jury for you?
What are your plans?
When do we expect?
Is it really over?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know really what to say. For so long,